Topping today's news, the government taking steps to ease the concerns of business owners following backlash over price control changes. Bahamians are partly to blame for the Shanty town problem the country continues to face. A young mother shot and killed in what is believed to be a gang-related shooting. An off-duty police officer shoots and kills a suspected carjacker in defense of his wife. And 3 murder suspects make their first appearance in court today. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It's a pleasure to have you join us. Following backlash to the price control changes, the Minister of Economic Affairs, Senator Michael Halkitis, says the Price Control Commission recognizes the need for an extended period to phase in the price control adjustment and will forego any penalties and enforcement during the adjustment period. Last Tuesday, during his first national address, Prime Minister Philip Davis announced that the government has added 38 new items to be subject to price controls, among them food and medicine. The Prime Minister noted that this was to help tackle the issue of the high cost of living here in the Bahamas. The Retail Grocers Association has spoken out against the new regulations, which come into effect today, October 17th, with some expressing concerns that the expansion will result in job losses and even some stores closing. Minister Halkitis, in a statement on Sunday evening, says the Ministry of Economic Affairs values public consultation with all of its stakeholders regarding the understanding or impact of government policy and changes. He said the Ministry of Economic Affairs will continue to consult broadly with the Retailers and Wholesalers Association regarding the government's recent announcement and price control enforcement. During the office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing on Friday, Press Secretary Clint Watson told reporters that Prime Minister Philip Davis expects to meet with the retailers sometime this week. That said, Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville, following a consultative meeting with representatives from the Bahamas Pharmacy Council and the Bahamas Pharmacy Association, reiterated that the government recognizes most businesses need time to adjust to the new price control regulations, and as a result, the Davis administration will not allot time or will allot time for adjustments of inventory. He said Friday's meeting with the pharmacy industry was aimed at providing clarity as it relates to the enforcement of adjustments to the Price Control Act with reference to pharmaceutical drugs. Minister Darville confirmed the government's position, stating no penalties, once again, will be exacted while these inventory adjustments are being made. Communications from the office of the Prime Minister during his weekly press briefing suggests Bahamians contribute to the issue of shanty towns being erected illegally. This much, according to Press Secretary Clint Watson, who was responding to questions on whether the government or what the government plans to do about the issue of illegal migrants settling on family islands. He says it is an issue that Bahamians play a part in.
And nowadays, if we look at these shanty towns, they ain't building them like how they used to build them anymore. They're livable homes now because they're trying to do what they can to be able to follow. Now, when you're running electricity from home to home via wire and so forth, it brings in all kinds of violations, right? And that's when you bring in the authorities to try and address those issues. But that still doesn't mean you can go in there with a bulldozer, break it down, because it's not your land. And what people don't understand is people often lay the blame at government's feet without recognizing that there are Bahamians at the foundation of this issue because they're making money off of these people desperate.
When asked about the matter of migrants squatting on Crown land, Mr. Watson says that is due to the Department of Immigration's resources being unable to police the entire island of Abaco. The press secretary says there is a legal process that must be followed when handling migrants in order to avoid backlash from international bodies and agreements the Bahamas has signed onto.
Because you have to now methodically deal with how you're going to address issues and do it in the most humane way without not violating United Nations clauses, without ensuring that you are not violating any other laws, because these are still human beings. And it takes some time to do that. But you're now seeing the rewards of the benefits of being able to put a task force in place who will execute at certain times. That's going to continue. It's not a one-off. It's going to continue. The administration will address this issue. We will not, as some people have said, labeled it, kick the ball down, kick the can down the road. we're going to address it. But we have to do it in a way that's methodical and that will not cause a harmless, to be sanctioned by in the way it deals with things, by ensuring we don't have to have the interruption of courts, because we know there are people in our country who will gladly go and get injunctions that they've done in the past, and it halts your whole operation. So it requires being able to methodically plan how to execute the plan to bring about the results.
As for that injunction on this matter ordered by the Supreme Court, Mr. Watson says there are legal technicalities that must be complied with, highlighting the fact that the injunction was made about a different location and that the process must be done again for the new location where migrants are now squatting again. Another police-involved shooting here in the capital after an off-duty police officer foiled an attempted robbery attempt right on his doorsteps. His Majesty's coroner is now investigating the circumstances surrounding that shooting incident that leaves a 38-year-old male of Nassau Village dead. According to police, the incident unfolded sometime after 8 p.m. Saturday night on Barbados Avenue in Elizabeth Estates. Assistant Commissioner of Police Kentwood Taylor gave these details.
Sometime around 8:30 this evening, a female had pulled into a driveway. She was accosted by a lone gunman who requested the keys for her vehicle. She screamed, a family member came out, a struggle ensued between the family member and the suspect, which resulted in the suspect being fatally shot. The suspect is known to the police. He's currently wearing an electronic monitor.
Now, that family member, according to police, is the husband of the woman that was being held at gunpoint. The off-duty officer confiscated the weapon as well. ACP Taylor noting that the suspect was on bail for armed robbery and murder. Now, there have been a number of recent incidents that have involved suspects currently on bail. ACP Taylor says the police are out in full force to combat this disturbing trend.
Well, I can tell you right now, we have saturation patrols going on. Right now, we have static checks. All of my commanders are out and about, ensuring that visibility is there. And so we are doing and making every effort to ensure that patrols are conducted, particularly in these neighborhoods where people are on the way home and doing shopping.
ACP Taylor is asking the public, particularly residents of Elizabeth Estates, that community who may have any information regarding this incident, to contact the Criminal Investigation Department. Police are also reminding the public that they will be relentless in their pursuit of all who are engaged in criminal behavior. The Bahamas also adding another homicide to its count after a 22-year-old female believed to be a Jamaican national was gunned down late Friday night, becoming the country's 108th homicide victim. Police are now aggressively searching for a male who shot the woman multiple times outside an apartment complex in Redland Acres. According to police, shortly after 11 p.m. on Friday, the victim was standing outside the complex when she was approached and subsequently shot by a male who exited a dark-colored Japanese vehicle. Emergency medical service personnel were called to the scene. However, they confirmed the victim had no vital signs of life following examination of the body. At present, police are uncertain of the circumstances surrounding this incident. Investigations there continue. It was a busy day at the Magistrates Court complex today. 3 people were arraigned before Chief Magistrate Joyanne Ferguson Pratt in connection with 2 recent homicides here in the country. 30-year-old Felicia Bonamy was charged with the September 27th murder of UK expat Marcus Hinsby. Hinsby was found in his Western New Providence condo, the Veneto, on Atlantic Drive with multiple lacerations to the body. Police, along with the property manager, had to breach the doors of the condo to gain access. At the time, Chief Superintendent of Police Crystalyn Skippings told reporters that the police suspect the killer was known to the deceased. The accused, Barnaby, was not required to enter a plea and was remanded to the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services until December 13th, when she returns to court for a voluntary bill of indictment. Meanwhile, 35-year-olds Billy Antoine and Theophilus Lloyd were brought up on charges for the killing of Andre Kiki Varakis. This incident occurred on September 28th in the area of Crossing Rocks, South Abaco. Police found the victim's body clad in all white near the wooden staircase of a business establishment. He had multiple gunshot wounds to the body. Both Antoine and Lloyd were not required to enter a plea and were remanded to the Bahamas Department of Corrections until they returned to court on December 8th for the presentation of a voluntary bill of indictment. And finally, in this segment, it's been an ongoing debate for months now, and that is whether the Bahamas is in a crime crisis or not. There seems to be differing opinions by many Bahamians, particularly National Security Minister Wayne Munro, who says we are in a crisis, and Commissioner of Police Clayton Fernanda, who contends we are not in the midst of a crime crisis. Leader of the official opposition, Michael Pintard, said during a press conference last week that the Minister of National Security and the Commissioner of Police are not on the same page when it comes to the severity of crime in the country. On the sidelines of the graduation of the new police recruits on Thursday, the National Security Minister responded to those remarks by Mr. Pintard.
For the police, there is no crisis. They catch you, they lock you up. That's not a crisis. For me as Minister of National Security, if you listen to what the Governor of Turks and Caicos said, what the Prime Minister said, what world leaders all over the world are saying, countries have difficult decisions to make because criminals aren't created by the police, they're caught by the police. Criminals are created by society. So the tough decision, the crisis that society has is to stop making criminals, stop tolerating them. It's as simple as that. It's rich for the opposition, who let the police force run down in numbers, who stopped all of the diversionary programs, where when I took the chair, we had problems having cars on the road for saturation patrols. We've responded quickly. They don't know what the response looks like because they don't know how to deal with crime.
As a part of their efforts to provide more police saturation, Minister Munro told reporters that a fleet of police vehicles will be dispersed throughout the Family Islands, along with the implementation of the HYPE program, which will seek to intervene with children at the primary school level. The minister says it is time to stop the petty politics.
They don't understand what we are doing because they don't understand what a crime strategy looks like. I understood they said that we shouldn't deploy to Turks and Caicos. They can't be real, they can't be sensible. We already trained Turks and Caicos police officers. Squad A graduated was of Turks and Caicos officers. In the first week of operations, they have already arrested a person wanted in the Bahamas, in the Turks and Caicos. It's amazing that the leader of the opposition is from Grand Bahama, where the largest concentration of people related to Turks and Caicos Islanders live. And so he should know how easily people move backward and forward. I would invite them to stop playing petty politics. It makes them look silly. Every Bahamian knows the free flow of people between the Turks and Caicos Islands and the Bahamas. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out how criminals can move easily. So they need to be serious.
The opposition has said repeatedly that they have made several recommendations to the Davis administration on how to better manage the crime situation. However, they say that their efforts have been ignored. Minister Munro also responding to this claim.
Go back and ask him which land-shaking recommendation he made that he would say was the silver bullet. I've read his recommendations. He came to a meeting to be briefed with facts, again, without finding out any facts from the police of anything, any crime statistics. How can you bring a recommendation when you don't know the facts? That's like a doctor prescribing medication without any tests. They are being disingenuous. Very disingenuous. The criminals we see killing now, the 15-year-old boy, when they took office in 2017, basically 5 years ago, he was 10 years old. The young man we see killing who was 20, when they took office, he was 15 years old. They need to get serious. They really need to say sorry and start to seriously cooperate with us. If they want to know what is happening, if they want to be have the police information shared, come forward and be genuine.
We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.
Now, I know I've said it before, but this time, I swear it's different. Grammy dreamed about this number, so I won't lose. I can't lose. This is my last time. Please, son, just give me one more chance. I'll give it all back to you.
Excessive gaming affects more than just the gamer. This message has been brought to you by the Gaming Board for the Bahamas, which encourages you to game responsibly.
Marlin Marine and Generac have the standby generator that fits your needs. Conserve power by using only 1 or 2 circuits during an outage with our 7.5 kilowatt. Or manage your power usage with our 10 to 16 kilowatt standby. But why only power part of the house? Get whole house protection with our 20 kilowatt Generac standby and never lose power again. Give us a call at 393-7873 and get the right unit for you. Marlin Marine, giving you power on land and sea.
Kids, let's go! Sean, what are you doing?
I solved it. We'll buy our life insurance policy from this company and then go over here and get our home insurance. Then get our motor policy from right over here.
Or we could just get it all with CG Atlantic. Save a lot of money and effort.
They do it all? Even pensions?
Even pensions.
We're like a husband that doesn't overcomplicate everything. CG Atlantic. Good like that.